Welcome to Focus on B, the video series where I spent about 20 or so minutes playing and talking about a game that I've got some thoughts on. And finally, we've reached all the way back around to the original Turok after doing free and 2. Well, 2 and free in that order. The original N64 version of 2 and the remaster of free. This is the remaster of 1, now updated. Well, now, it happened a couple months ago, but still, updated to the newer version of the KEX engine. I actually never really realized that until recently, but I checked the Steam updates and they're like, oh yeah, we updated the engine. That's cool. Doesn't really feel any different, but I mean, it's still the first game. So this game was, what more can I say about the original Turok? It was a big deal back in 1997 because it was 3D graphics and all the N64, and it was like the only good game on the N64 except for Mario 64. That's not really how it goes. Actually, there's plenty of good games on the N64. I should know. But what the hell am I talking about here? Well, there's a couple of things about this game that I actually find very impressive, and also not surprising given its origin. So here's one of the things. Well, I can't really show it off right now, but it's the interconnectivity. See, when you beat, I think this game is really clever with what it does. So you know how a lot of newer games, it will start you out in like a tutorial level, so to speak, which will then smoothly transition to the first real level of the game? Well, this game kind of does that, but a little differently. So this level right here is the first one, obviously. It's the... I don't know what the actual name of the stage is legitimately. Every level has a name. The second one's the jungle. I don't know what this is called. Oh shit, dinosaurs. Oh no, remember when the series was about actually shooting dinosaurs in the face? Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so what happens is when you beat this, you get sent to the hub world. Completely seamlessly, and I get why that was possible back then, because it was on N64, which was a cartridge-based system. Now, that's not super impressive anymore, because this game is like, what, 200 megabytes? You can literally store, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this entire game, if every single asset, all at once, is stored in memory. Really, you can store the whole freaking game in less than a gigabyte of RAM, so I would not be surprised if that's how Night Dive are able to do it so smoothly now. Speaking of Night Dive, here's another thing that they've done which makes this game so much more playable now, other than the obvious mouse and keyboard and stuff, and high FOVs and higher FPSs and all that stuff, and extended draw distance. Okay, this doesn't... I'm not sure if this even counts, but I'm gonna do it. Yeah. You can do this. I brought this up in my Turok free video as well. Oh, Lord, sweet baby Jesus, yes. This actually makes the game playable. You have no idea how much hassle I've saved myself by doing this. I understand that I'm kind of... Well, I mean, I'm not going to do it right now. I don't need to. But later on in the game, holy shit, like, modern tastes do not play nicely with this game's level design. But I gotta talk about that too, because I've been playing Turok 3 and 2 as well, especially 2 as of late. And here's something I noticed when it came to the level design between the first two games. That yes, the levels are pretty massive in Turok 2 as well. They're huge. They're actually broken up into small sections. If you fly around and with no clip, you can actually notice they're just tiny little areas, but they're connected with the warp portals. But they can get pretty claustrophobic. Specifically, the Hive Mind level, I don't know what it was called, the one that's all sci-fi and looks like Halo before Halo. That level. I played it second in order, you can play them in any order, but holy shit, that level was so claustrophobic. I couldn't take it, I just had to freaking no-clip out of there because it was just the worst. I mean, I've stated multiple times in my videos that I like closed-in environments. That's why I generally prefer something like Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2, yes. However, there's a limit to that, man. Like, the levels are just fucking tiny little corridors and stuff. They open up occasionally. No, not all of them. I just mean that particular stage. But that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, you know what I mean? Because occasionally levels can have those kind of characteristics outside of that in Turok 2. As for Turok 3, it's just a totally linear campaign, but this game has way more open-ended levels. Now, when I say open-ended, I don't necessarily mean that they're more confusing. I mean, they're a bit confusing. I definitely needed to consult the internet for a couple of things and consult the no-clip button as well. Not to mention that for one of the levels, the catacombs, I'm not gonna lie, I never actually found the portal to the boss that you're supposed to beat to get the final key. Now, fortunately, that key is for the final level of the game, you know, the final confrontation, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really too invested in that. I've never completed this game. I've gotten to the penultimate level. I was actually planning on doing this video on my almost completed save file, but then I realized a lot of the enemies are dead. Some of them respawn, but most of them stay dead, which is generally a good thing, but what that means is, well, it would be a very boring video because I'll just be running around empty levels. What we just did right there was something that only just occurred to me. That's not like a warp area. I always figured, for some reason, maybe I just have a really bad sense of direction. I always figured that when you enter one of those portals and when you beat one of those stages, you then move on, you get teleported to a new area. You don't. As you just saw, I popped right back out exactly where I was. Those are such an interesting remnant of game design from a different era because they really are just pure bonus stages. In their most arcadey sort of outdated form. They're just bonus areas. You don't have to go there. There's nothing integral to progression, but you can just go there if you want some extra collectibles and stuff, and that's fun. Also, you know what I'm doing here? I'm doing platforming. Now, I have to ask something. Why do so many people have an aversion to first-person platforming? I never figured that out. Yes, some game engines are less conducive to first-person platforming than others. For example, I cannot stand it when you have to do first-person platforming in a Quake game, in a Half-Life game. Oh, holy shit. I mean, funnily enough, yes, I know the original Quake is basically Half-Life is the original Quake, technically. But even in the Source engine for Half-Life 2 and stuff like that, it's like, wow, the platforming just does not... It's the controls. But here, the controls are actually quite tight. They work pretty well. There's a reason why this game has so many platforming sections, and believe it or not, are actually kind of fun. Like, there's so much more doable in this version because you don't have to go like this all the time because you're not on the N64 and your FOV isn't 2, right? I mean, my FOV right now is 74. For some reason, Night Dive always insists on their FOVs being weird. 74, this is actually 90, but it's like vertical, I think. This is a lot more, right? 120, I mean, let's go 120. Believe that. That is way more than 120. I play at 120 usually, and that is way more than 120. I mean, it's cool. It's great seeing the game like this. I'm also incredibly grateful that you can turn off head bobbing, because holy shit, that is annoying. But now it feels weird. And look, if you want the authentic N64 experience, this is exactly like the N64 version. How can anyone play a game like this? My god. Oh, wow. I know. You were born in 2001. You don't know what the fuck it was like on the N64. Yes, I've never owned an N64. In fact, I've never owned any game console apart from, like, the PSP and the 3DS, but those aren't even game consoles. They're handhelds. I've got plenty of experience with the PS2 because all of my friends had one, and I have a little bit of experience with the PS3 as well. I don't think I've ever seen an Xbox 360 in my life, though. I've seen an... Have I? No. I've never seen an Xbox One. I've seen a PS4. I've seen a Switch. Go figure. But I've never, ever seen an Xbox 360 or a Wii U. I've also never seen a Wii. I remember when the Wii Mini came out and it was, you know, being advertised. Oh, for fuck's sake, let me just... And it was being advertised. I would see, like, ads for it and stuff on billboards. But I never got one because it was like, well, I have a computer. Why the fuck would I do that? And that was before I knew how to emulate, by the way. Now that I can do that, I mean, easy, right? Don't tell Miyamoto or something. I don't think he gives a shit, to be honest. Let's be real. So where was I? Yeah, so this obviously is way easier to play. Sometimes I feel like there's not a lot worth talking about when it comes to this game anymore. It's one of those weird games that is not super well known anymore and simultaneously feels incredibly overdone. Like I don't have anything else to add to the conversation of the Turok games. And the thing is, though, these games were very successful back then. I mean, a sequel for this game, the sequel, Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, was greenlit before this game even came out. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. It's like when they predict that a certain game is going to be very successful, they just get started on the sequel right away. I mean, I was today years old when I found out that BioShock 3 was actually in development at the same time as BioShock 2. I mean, infinite. You know what I mean, right? Let's defer to game. So, yeah, it's crazy to think that this was the zeitgeist. This was like what its popular gaming was like. And then Quake 3 was like, hello. And then Unreal Tournament, which actually came out before that, was like, hello. And then, obviously, for some reason, Epic... okay, I'm never going to understand it. Why did Epic get rid of all the Unreal games? Because Jazz Jackrabbit is still on GOG, both games. Some of the Gears of Wars are still on Steam. Borderlands... No, not Borderlands. That's Gearbox. Bulletstorm is still on Steam, I think. So what the fuck? Like, I always thought it was, oh, they're neglecting the series because Fortnite, but actually... Well, I mean, yeah, of course. But there is no reason to remove them. So it's possible. Hear me out. Maybe there's some kind of copyright issue. Maybe. I mean, I don't know what it could possibly be, but I mean, think about it. They've even... okay, I thought it was maybe just complete neglect and unacknowledgement, but no, because they have publicly declared that they are okay with the fact that people are downloading the first 2 Unreal games, and even the rest of them, for free. They're like, cool, keep doing that. We'll even let the guys keep doing their mods and their patches. So, it's not that. It's not complete ambivalence. So, what the hell is it then? I don't know. Anyway... Back to Turok. Oh, shit. Shoot. Okay, so you know when I said in my Turok free video, if you've seen it, that the gunplay was never the strong point, like, was never a strong suit in the Turok series? I might have to take that back, actually. They might have fucked it up later on, because I've been playing through this and Turok 2, and holy shit, the gunplay is actually really good in those 2 games, in this and Turok 2. Really. It feels punchy, the sound design is great, the enemies just explode into gore. I find that odd. They must have... I don't know what it is. Like, there's something about the sound design of Turok 3 that totally botches it. None of the guns feel powerful in that game, and the way the enemies react, and the gore is so much more toned down. I don't know what the fuck happened. I know that game was rushed. In fact, it is literally confirmed that the version that was released is identical to a 80% or so complete beta of the game. That's right. The version of Turok 3 that everyone played in... well, not everyone, that's the whole thing, but some people played in 2000 wasn't a complete game, technically speaking. Now, something I've learned over time is that in the big game industry, so to speak, sometimes even 80-70% is actually a lot more than it really seems. I mean, for example, the version of Jazz Jackrabbit 2 that I played for this channel, it was a download I found on the Internet Archive of a version 1.0 OEM release, and I was thinking, that's the most pure, original version of the game, and not with any of the extra stuff that they've added. No, actually, not only was it was so pure, it was literally unfinished. It was a I think it was like a 50% complete version of the game. Yeah, at least that's how they estimated it, and yet it still played like a totally finished game. There were some genuine differences, yes, that were a little weird to me because I was like, what the fuck? That's not how it's supposed to be, based on the videos that I had seen and also playing other downloads of Jazz Jackrabbit 2. But then it turned out, oh wait, it's actually incomplete, but it's still kind of close. So, that's enough rambling. The basically point is that games sometimes are more complete than they seem, and sometimes are less complete than they seem. Map. You have a map. And this thing is so useful, you have no idea. But there's something that kind of annoys me. Well, for one, I hate having to actually play the game constantly with this thing on. You know how disorientating this is? The disorienting, just having to look at this shit. And you have to. Unless you know the levels inside and out, you have to have this map open so you know that you haven't missed anything. But you know what would really just push me over the edge? I mean, I'm not over the edge of liking this game, because I actually do still like this game a lot. It's really, really fun. But what pushed me over the edge of wanting to play it legitimately, as in, without doing this, anytime there was a minor obstacle, it was when I started level 5, no, 6. I don't remember. One of the levels, one of the later stages. And then, fuck these guys, they do so much damage. And then the first thing I noticed on the map when I opened the map, because I've started just instinctively opening it up instantly, was an entirely different area of the level right behind me, right behind where I start. And I was just like, guys, what the fuck? You know, it's not like they did that just to have the level loop back around. No, you need to go there for unique content, like things that you need to collect in order to progress. So they were just being assholes, basically, just like putting integral shit behind the start of the level. I really do not like such a design decision. And look, I understand it, because to be fair, I think that when you strip away this kind of stuff from a Turok game, it does make it really boring. I mean, as I said, Turok Free is probably my least favorite of the ones that I've played. I've never played Evolution. I had a friend who had Evolution on his PS2, and I remember thinking it was really cool. I have no idea where to go now, actually. Hold on, let me check this area. Have I been here before? Is it me? Oh, shit, I have been here before. I haven't been here before, actually. That was supposed to be... What was that song? Wait, shit, I cannot believe I'm forgetting a piece of music from Sonic R. How can that be possible? It was it... Na 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 da 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 da. It was Back in Time. There you go. I had to sing the rest of the verse melody to remember it was Back in Time. That song is so freaking good. I'm so glad they put a remix of it in Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform. Yeah. Anyway, where was I? Something about the game. Yeah. So basically, I understand that when you take away this kind of design, it makes it more straightforward. It makes it easier to figure out what to do, but it also runs the risk of making the game incredibly boring. Now, some games can do this very well. They can actually make a game that should theoretically be boring, and it can make it really fun and interesting. And that's a testament to great level design and set pieces, like Half-Life, right? That game is so simple in its design, but it's amazing. It's so good, right? Or even, well, no, I was going to say GoldenEye. You know what? I haven't really played GoldenEye enough to properly say whether or not it does anything that it does. I barely have any experience with GoldenEye, honestly. I've played it just a smidge. I played a little bit of it, like the first few levels for that one video I did. What was it? Playing FPS games wrong. That one, yeah, where I played FPS games like... Ah, shit, I thought it would work here. I wonder if you can remap the controls on this game to make it like a proper boomer shooter where you use up, down, left, right to... You know what I mean. Yeah, but I haven't actually played GoldenEye that much at all, and I don't want to. It seems to be mission-based. I don't know, I don't want to play it. Oh, there's some games I just don't want to play. I don't care what kind of pedigree behind them they have. And there's some games that I want to play no matter what people say about them because they have something... That was funny, because they have something about them that I find fascinating for some reason, you know, especially if I can get them really cheap, or alternatively as well, especially if it's abandonware. You know, if a game is abandonware, I have no qualms about getting it the way you're supposed to get abandonware, which is for free, because who the fuck are you going to pay for it? I mean, like, what, some random guy on eBay? Like, no thanks. If I can't give my money to the developers, then no. You know what I mean? Well, maybe also the publishers as well, but sometimes the publishers can publish a game made by people who are no longer around. Like how some of Monolith's stuff is still being distributed, which is actually cool. It's great that people can still get Fear for a pretty reasonable price as well. I think it's $10 is actually really good for the original Fear and both expansions. That's pretty good if you ask me. And that game is so much better than the sequels. It's not even funny. But anyway, back to Turok. Is there anything else I can add about this game? I mean, the level design is... It's confusing, but I can deal with it. See, with Turok 2, it gets to the point where I legitimately... Oh, wait a second. I've been here before. Damn it. I hate when it does that. Sometimes it teleports you to an area you've already been. It gets to the point with Turok 2 where I just stop having fun. Right now, actually, as of recording this video, I'm playing through the 4th level. Unfortunately, the levels in that game are also non-linear in their order. So I have no idea what the level is, and I don't even know what it's called. It's this really... Okay, basically, to give you a hint, because if you've played the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's the level where you ride on a giant Triceratops, just stomping everything and killing everyone. That's at the start of the level. Then it becomes a normal stage. Yeah, that's the level I'm talking about. That one I've actually been enjoying a lot. It's been really fun. The design is relatively straightforward, while still having a little bit of the fucky-wuckiness, where it's like, oh, you gotta shoot this obscure-ass thing over there to make it work. But fortunately, Night Dive, being the bros that they are, put little exclamation points and make it a little bit easier. man, saying all these things about that game makes me want to do another video on it, but like the night dive version. Oh, the reflections are a bit wonky. Look, it looks like there's a bottomless pit, but there isn't. I've got the reflections set up properly, right? Graphics, yeah, everything's on. Except for anti-aliasing, because I don't need it when you're playing at your native resolution. I know, there's still jaggies even then. But anyway, so what else before I wrap up? Because at this point, I mean, I'm just kind of rambling. I'm having a good time. I'm playing the game. It's fun. It's really fun. I can't believe I'm still not done with the first level. And that's the interesting thing. It's like, you got these games where, oh, what? Only 8 levels? Yeah, that would suck if it were a Mario game. But this game has like 20 billion hours worth of content in each stage. It's absolutely crazy. Okay, actually, come to think about it, I think we're about to be done. Yes, that right there was the end of that. Took like 20 minutes of the first level of the game. Shoot, this guy, these guys have a frick ton of health. Die. These guys actually come back in Turok 2 and free as well. And this is it. This is my favorite thing about the game. The fact that you get teleported to this hub area and it's totally seamless, you know? You just go straight in, and all of a sudden, there's no... It's very progressive. It's a very progressive approach. With the way there's no real menu navigation or anything, you just kind of jump in. And this must have been bonkers for 1997, right? Because back then, games, they weren't quite as menu-heavy as some games can be today, just because of how many options games have, so they need the options menus. But usually you would have some kind of selection, right? I mean, Quake, to be fair, Quake did something kind of similar in the sense that you not only select your difficulty through a level, but you also selected the area that you would play, the map, the episode you would play through a level. So, okay, I can't give this game all the credit. Quake kind of did it first, but this game does it in a really smooth and seamless and cool way. It doesn't feel like a crutch. I remember the developers of Quake said that, like, slip gates are a crutch for bad level design. Here, no, it's done very tastefully. Yeah, anyway. That's pretty much going to do it for me talking about this game for a while. This is going to do it for this episode of Focus on B, the video series where I spent about 20 or so minutes playing and talking about a game that I've got some thoughts on, and this has been Turok, specifically Turok Remastered, various different platforms, 2015.